Hello everyone, I'm Donna Bush with your CID-TV News Brief and weather forecasts. Close to 100 volunteers stepped up to a call from the Department of Environment this week to clear sediment from around 800 feet of reef area. DOE Deputy Director of Research and Assessment Tim Austin explains exactly what happened.
Well, on Saturday, a diver reported to Eden Rock that they saw a large amount of sediment on the reef, and they subsequently reported that to DOE, and we went to investigate on Monday. And when we went, indeed, we confirmed there was a lot of sediment on the reef. And when we tried to piece together what had happened, and talking with the Port Authority Director, Dr. Joseph Woods, we established that a ship had come into town on Friday, tried to dock at the port and run into a sandbar out there. And the tug, which was on standby to push them in, was able to push the boat in, but in doing so stirred up a very large amount of sediment that unfortunately got washed down in front of Eden Rock and has eventually smothered a lot of corals. So we're here today to try to rectify that situation and to remove the sediment that is covering the coral. Ordinarily, sediment would be swept off of a reef by natural processes such as waves, but as we can see, it's really calm today. And also coral has its own ability to self-clean, but unfortunately because of the amount of sediment involved in this incident, the coral is unable to clean itself and subsequently is suffocating underneath the sand and unfortunately dying. But we do know that the reef is covered basically from where it starts next to the port down to Oceana, which is approximately 800 feet of reef track, or about 250 meters. So it's a fairly sizable area. We'll have a much better estimate of the impact once we finish this, but the immediate priority is to get the sediment off of the reef, so we're focusing on that at the moment. I am overwhelmed. I mean, the power of Facebook and the ability of people to respond very quickly and their generosity in coming out, it's just incredible. I haven't done a head count, but there must be over 50 people that have given up their afternoon to come and help us. And I think that just goes to show you how much people really care about the marine environment, how important it is to Cayman. People really understand it and they're ready to help. And thank you to Eden Rock for helping us facilitate this, and to Silversides for helping with the beverages. And yeah, I mean, it's really been overwhelming. The outpouring of support for this project is phenomenal. So we've been working yesterday experimenting with various methods that worked, and it became quite clear that the really targeted just basically washing the sand off with water pressure that you create with your hand, using that word wafting, or so you're using your fins to generate water current to sweep the sand off of the coral, making sure that coral then settles in areas where sand would normally be, the depressions and the grooves in the reef. So that's what we're needing, and that basically just comes down to sheer number of people at this point. DOE was trying to do it, but that didn't, it was clear we needed more people. We've now advanced to using some more mechanical methods. We've got water pumps on board 2 of our boats, and we're trying to move larger volumes using water pressure generated by pumps. But the real attention to detail that divers can facilitate is really going to be key here.
Mr. Austin went on to explain how divers used water pumps and their hands to remove the sand from the coral. Mr. Austin also told our camera crew that he's overwhelmed by the support from volunteers who obviously care very much about our marine environment. Meantime, the Ministry of Health has announced that work has restarted on the construction of the long-term residential mental health facility since the initial lockdown was announced by the Cayman Islands government back in March. Construction is expected to be completed in September 2021. Minister of Health, the Honorable Dwayne Seymour, says, quote, "This project remains a top priority for us at the ministry. In the pandemic, mental health has truly come back to center stage, and we have been reminded just how crucial a facility like this here in the Cayman Islands really is." End quote. The next deadline to register to vote in the Cayman Islands is Thursday, October 1st. Those who register by this date will be added to the Register of Electors and be able to vote from January 1st, 2021 onwards. Now, the current register of voters stands at around 21,903 people. After the 1st of October deadline, any qualified individuals wishing to vote in the next general elections, next May 26, have until January 4th of 2021 to register to vote if they haven't already done so. Young people aged 17 years who otherwise meet the voter eligibility requirements and will turn 18 on or before the date of the next general election are permitted to register to vote before their next birthday. For details on how you can get registered, go online to elections.ky. This Thursday's high temperature reached 98 degrees, the low 78. The forecast calls for partly cloudy skies with some chances of showers and possible thunder. Winds will be from the east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. The synopsis calls for light winds and slight seas, which will continue across the Cayman Islands due to a weak pressure gradient over the Caribbean Sea. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the northwest. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, is issuing advisories on Hurricane Teddy and Tropical Storm Vicky. These systems pose no threat to the Cayman Islands. For more on local weather, you can go online to weather.gov.ky or download their app, CINWS, for the latest forecast. And that's it for us today here on CIG TV's News Brief. I'm Donna Bush, as always, wishing you a wonderful and, of course, a safe night.